Georgia Tech has landed another blue chip prospect. Let's talk about it. What is going on? What is going on? What is going on? Georgia Tech ain't playing no games with nobody. Lord, another blue chip prospect coming to the flats. You talk about retooling your entire defensive line and being able to bring in guys that can help change the complexion of this defense. I cannot say a better defensive line, and I cannot say a better year for Georgia Tech in that regard than this year, right? I want to take you guys real quick back to the portal. When you go to the portal, you guys think about who they brought in. Tajay McCoys, the Noah Carters, the Jordan Walkers, right? Prioritizing, prioritizing his defensive line, right? Bringing in the guys necessary to make a difference, right? And Georgia Tech has done that, right? And for most GT fans, they know this well. Hey, defensive line has been a major issue, has been a major problem for us, right? Last year was number 88 run defense, right? And you couldn't get enough pressure on the quarterback. Yeah, you had a decent number of sacks, but you want better play from your defensive line, right? That ain't gonna cut it if we gonna go and compete in the ACC. That's not gonna cut it if we want to go and be in Charlotte and play for an ACC title. You need better defensive line play, and I think it's gonna be a critical year for Coach Jess Simpson and Coach Kyle Pope, right? And again, when I say that, GT fans, I'm not coming for these guys, right? What I'm basically saying is it's going to be massive because you brought in all these blue chip guys. And if they see these guys have success, like the aforementioned names, the development of a Andre Fuller Jr., the development of a Braden Manley, right? The development of this entire defensive line, you feel pretty good if you're a GT fan because you're like, oh, okay, well, this group is now obviously getting developed. And then that plays into your recruiting for the next years, right? The 2028s, the 2029s, because now you have a group that has success with the portal being there, the Montre Bradfords, right? These type of guys, and now you're in a situation where, okay, yeah, we got everything we need, you know what I'm saying? And now we're bringing in guys that can help us at a high level, right? So I just want to talk about that real quick before we begin the show. But I think that's massive for Georgia Tech moving forward. And they got a stud guy. I'm not gonna lie to you. And for defensive line, like I don't know what else you really need at this point. I feel like you've checked every box. If you Jess Simpson, if you are Kyle Pope, we're getting this line better. And I think it's everything that Coach Key has talked about, he's lamented, and that he's wanted, right? Girth, size, strength, speed. You have all that and then some, right? So here is the newest four-star prospect. Obviously, this news just broke, right? I don't expect people to be up, people be at church and things like that. So I know GC fans will come back and watch this. But four-star prospect, 6'3", 300, 6'3", 305 pounds, Jamar Thompson, right? And the dude is fast. He's physical. We're going to break down the tape here in just a little bit. But I think massive for GT. You know what I'm saying? Four-star prospect. And he's a guy for Georgia Tech. What's so interesting is the recruitment, right? I'm going to pull up a graphic for you guys. Like, they weren't even in this recruitment. And I think that says a lot, right? For their ability to close down the OVs, right? It's massive, right? Look at this, guys. I want you guys to see this. This was his top four schools. This was released in March. Look at that date, y'all. March 12th, it was released. Georgia Tech wasn't even in his top four, right? It was Auburn, Miami, Michigan, Ohio State. So when you guys ask, okay, well, Naj, what kind of player is this? This is the second consecutive time like other teams have been battling for this guy, and it's been a major program and a major institution, right, that has wanted this guy, and Georgia Tech has been to close the deal, right? Michigan, Ohio State always have good defensive lines, right? So again, this is the second consecutive get that they've got that. Oh, okay, Ohio State wanted him, right? Ohio State was in that contention, right? Malik Lee's the other. That's big time, right? And that shows that they're doing a good job with recruiting. And when Ohio State or those big teams fall off, Georgia Tech's right there to scoop you up, right? So that also to me makes a big difference because now you're getting guys that you know other teams are sleeping on and were recruiting at a high level at one point, but now it's different. And what's crazy is he's rated as the number one defensive line in Florida, right? That's what you bring into the Fox. Number one defensive line men in the Florida, and that could bring obviously a lot to the table, right? So as y'all know, one of my staples is breaking down film, right? So we're gonna look at the film and we're gonna talk about what this means for this 2027 class and everything that they're doing. And again, they're not done yet, right? They have a lot that they still want to do and they want to accomplish moving forward, right? So we're gonna break down this tape and talk about everything that this kid brings to the table for the Yellow Jackets. All right. So let's break down this tape real quick. Make sure we got everything pulled up. I'll make sure you guys can see. Can you guys see? Perfect. All right, let's talk about the tape. And I was thoroughly impressed, right? He had 45 tackles, 16 tackles for a loss. He had 5 sacks. I think he had 3 pass deflections. So he did a little bit of everything. We're going to break down this tape and give our honest thoughts and opinions as well. Okay. So off rip, you guys see watch number 0, big number 0 right here, right? Screenplay right there, boom. Being able to run that down, major hit in the backfield, getting it done, right? He's gonna be right here, guys, on the interior, as you guys can see, and watch the push he gets, right? So right there, that's just good solid hands, as you guys can see there, boom, and then push him to the side, move him out of the way, go get the quarterback, right? So that's what you're getting on the defensive line in the interior, okay? And then once again, right here, watch this push. See that push, y'all? It's a little hard to see, but watch him push this guy one more time and going pretty fast. Watch him push this guy, push, boom, right pass, and then another big time sack. And then every time he tackles you, it's very aggressive, right? It's a very aggressive tackler right here on the inside, right? Watch this push with this guy. See that? No chance. And then I love the block shit right here, right? So see the initial push, grab, push him to the side. Okay, boom, get off me, right? So pushes him off there, and then he sees his running back trying to get through this lane, right? That cutback move, and then right there to gobble him up is Jamar Thompson, right? Right there in the backfield. Exactly what you want to see, exactly what you want from your defensive lineman, right? Big, massive space. One of the big things I want to talk about is he eats up space quickly, right? And that's what you need on the defensive line. He's powerful, he's strong, but he eats up space. See? That's what you want, bro. That's that tenacity. He just overpowers 61 right there, right? Look at that. Bomb. See that? We talked about that the last few days, right? Braden Gordon's, the Malik Lee's, like them being able to just overpower their matchup. You need that in the ACC when you're going against guys 6'6", 6'7", 6'5" plus, right? You won't be able to do it every play, but you need some tenacity there. You need some willpower there, right? Some torque, some motor. You know what I'm saying? And then right there, right? Just being able to just kind of wedge in, right? Watch that little wedge he does. Boom. Being able to wedge in, get past this initial, obviously left guard, and is being able to follow that. Look at that. Look at all that traffic up in there, and then he's able to just blow that play up, right? Well-designed play. He just makes a play, wedges through, and being able to get the TFL. Okay, and then right there, just very fast, right? 1, 2, right? He's already made his move. He's already beat this guy on the inside. And then boom, he's there, right? And then being able to gobble up the running back right there as he tries to get through and split through this hole, it's too late, right? He's right there, run it down, be able to get obviously only maybe a 1-yard gain on that one. Okay, once again, here he is in the interior, good strong hands, and then look, y'all, just relentless, right? He don't get there initially, right? So see, that's a great job by the offensive lineman. He don't get there initially, but boom, look at his relentlessness, look at the motor. Just being able to continue to push. And that's critical, especially for defensive line. You're not going to always get there on the initial push or the drive, but you have to be able to stay relentless and go make a play, right? That's massive. Hold on. I am lagging. I want to make sure I'm good. Come on. Try to get the people what they want. Okay, we good? All right, cool. Right? And then here, I love this one. Here he is here. Boom, look at this. So it's kind of a stunt, right? He's coming outside. He's going to loop inside. Y'all see that? That was a stunt play, right? So now he's matched up on that left tackle. Look at him just push him out of the way like he's nothing and be able to force that out quick, obviously get a pass deflection. So that's also another good side too, because you see more stunts in college football, right? You see more stunts with defensive linemen. So the fact that he can do that is massive because sometimes those guys in the defensive tackle, they struggle when they go against a left tackle because they don't have the power, the strength, or the speed or a quick first step to do it. Right there, you see he dominates that matchup and gets the pass deflection in the process. And then right here, just being able to kind of, right, this was unique because he was able to kind of bend down a little bit, right? So kind of just bend down through that a little bit and being able to help your teammates and engulf them through in a run game. All right, same thing right here. Being able to sift through. Good job right there. Good technique. Smooth. See, right there, look. Got 71 on his heels, right? Immediately. Good, strong, violent hands, right? Push him to the side like he's nothing. Go get the ball carrier. Every single time. Same thing here. Nice, strong hands. Tackle him up, gobble him up in the backfield. All right, let's see. Right here, line up against the center. What we got right here? Okay, right? Another good job. You know what I'm saying? Like just got pushed initially, moves past it, and then boom, able to gobble up the ball carrier right there, and obviously limit the gain to 0. Okay, so that's the type of player you're getting, right? As GT Buzz says, huge get, go Jackets. Yeah, huge get. Another 4-star prospect, as I've talked about, for Georgia Tech, right? And I just did a story. Sure this thing be lacking. Sorry, y'all. I just did the story. Here's my story, obviously, on him. And I talk about the tape that you guys just saw, right? And the key things in the tape that you guys just saw for me, as I talked about the fast, physical, violent hands, right? And like I said, when you roll this tape, you see how he can overpower opposing alignment, right? Y'all saw that just now as we talked about, right? Strong lower body strength. He's able to get a good push, knock linemen off their feet quick, right? Also agile, and he can move past offensive linemen and generate big time hits in the backfield and ball carries, right? Very aggressive tackler, right? Didn't miss too many tackles as y'all saw, right? When he's there and he's in that vicinity, he's that area, like he was able to do that, right? One of the things that Georgia Tech struggled with last year, defensive line and linebacker, was the missed tackle rate. You guys can look it up on Pro Football Focus, PFF. The rate was very high. This guy didn't miss too many tackles, right? So 6'3", 305, it gives you a bulldozer, a guy that can stay in the backfield, make TFLs, and when can't get there, he's wise enough where he can get his hand up, right, and be able to deflect and bat the ball down, right? So that's what you're kind of looking at what they get. And like I said, it's massive because two, you know, they were in the initial recruitment, right? I'll pull this up for fans that are trickling in now. Like that's the initial recruitment. It was Auburn, it was Miami, it was Michigan, and it was Ohio State, right? So for Georgia Tech to go in Florida again and let another big time defensive lineman tells me all they know. And this is not the first time they've done this. They did it with First Academy with Alex Willis. Like this is what Georgia Tech does, right? But now we need to look at the class, right? So we talked about Jamar Thompson, what he brings to the table. So now if you're Georgia Tech, you want the cutting edge. I don't know why I'm lagging so bad, y'all. Hold on. Okay. But like I said, if you Georgia Tech, you want a cutting edge, right? Now you're a top 30 program in terms of your recruiting class, right? Remember, there was 71 at one point last week, right? Now you've landed on consistent weekends with these prospects. You've landed on consistent weekends with bringing guys into the table, right? Now you have a number 6 class in the ACC. Now you're working with some fish grease, right? Because now you're getting guys, right? And look at that, off rip, right? Jamar Thompson, I believe, is one of the highest rated guys. Yes, according to Rivals, he's one of the highest rated guys for Georgia Tech, right? So again, a massive get for you, another blue chip prospect, and your defensive line is coming into focus, right? Now you got Braden Gordon, a blue chip prospect. Now you have Jamar Thompson, a blue chip prospect. Now you have Malik Lee, a blue chip prospect. Now you have Success Nawabude, a blue chip prospect, right? So that you're looking at consistently, this is what you just got. And that's why I say it's a big year for Kyle Pope, because now you could be in a situation where you can start landing 5-star guys in the future, especially if the development we see with the defensive line as a whole, right? And the missed tackle rate is better, right? And they're able to create more pressure, and you got multiple guys with 7.5 plus sacks, right? You feel better as a class. So my honest thoughts as you land this class is starting to develop for Georgia Tech. It's coming into focus, and you're not that far, right? If you coach Key, you've landed already one top 25 class. Now you are 5 spots away, right? So what's big going forward, Naj? What's big going forward? You got to land on some big time prospects on the offensive side of the ball, period, right? So I'm thinking, guys, I don't know what's going to happen with Amari Patterson. He did visit. I don't know. We got to see what happens there. Looking like that might move in a different direction, right? But I keep telling everybody, I'm gonna keep saying this for the 8 people that are watching. Yo, gotta get JB, bro. I can't keep saying it enough. Jabari Watkins should be a major target for this program. If you want to go get a 4-star prospect and help out this class and help out Brody Campbell and help out these running backs, right? Like a Tristan Willis, like a Mooney Gibson, go get JB. Jabari Watkins is gonna be massive for the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets and what they want to do. Okay, I cannot state that enough. right? So that would be my main target. Like when he comes, I think in a few weeks, I want him and I want him bad, right? We'll see what happens with Marquise Fennell. He's supposed to close in on a decision. He just went to a FSU visit. He's a playmaker, right? Think about the slot. Think about helping out Jordan Allen, right? That's another player for you. You know what I'm saying? And then they also got a receiver that they're looking at, I think, up north that's pretty good. Okay, so that starts there. Then offensive line wise, right? I know they're gonna be very specific, but it looking like they're gonna probably get 4 or 5 guys, right? So you got to land on a couple blue chips when it comes to the offensive line. But I know Coach Key, Coach Margaret, they're gonna be very particular about what they're gonna try to land on, what they're gonna try to get on the offensive line. Okay, so they're not gonna just get any and everybody, right? They got very specific things they're looking for, but they're closing in on some guys there as well. So that's important. I think the next position we got to look out for Georgia Tech to get that top 25 is going to be linebacker, right? Zyke Scott, I believe, was on the OV. They got to land somebody there. If they can land a blue chip linebacker, that's big, right? But remember, last cycle, guys, Georgia Tech had 3 linebackers, Kamani Morales, right? They also had Braylon Outlaw, excuse me, right? So he was another guy they landed. You know, he was massive, for them. He had a pretty good spring, right? And then CJ Gamble, right? So you're going to have to land that. And I think you got to got 2 good safeties. You're going to have to land on some corners, right? Is that Sincere Gaylord, right? That's not going to be easy because you got George in the mix, right? So they got to land on a couple of those. If they can land on a couple of those prospects, I think easily this should be a top 25 class, right? No argument in my mind. And I think they've done the right things, right? Mooney Gibson, Success Nawabude. We talked about Braden Gordon, Malik Lee, right? MJ Burnett. That's big because that's a Georgia Tech legacy, right? We talked about before on the channel for those that watch every day. Like Georgia Tech has to start landing some of these legacy players, right? So getting MJ Burnett home and his dad and what he meant to Georgia Tech and him being a 10-year NFL vet, that's going to help you, right? Because the more guys that came through your program that produced at a high level, that went off into the league and did what they were supposed to do, right? Their kids are coming up now the ranks now. So you start letting those guys and bringing them home, that's massive. That's big, right? So that's going to be big going forward. Jordan Dillon's your only one that's committed right now, but 6'4", 305, he's big. You can develop that if you coach Margaret, right? You can develop that if you coach Key, right? We talked about Tristan Willis already at the running back spot, right? Brody Campbell is a 3-star, but as y'all seen in the film breakdown, the dude's a gamer. Dude can go with some of the best of them in the country, I would say, right? He can throw it on a string and fling that ball, and he's one of their major recruiters, right? Then you look at Vinny Sinceri, the flip of Julian Elzy. That was massive. I didn't have that in my bingo card. I did not have that in my bingo card, right? But Elzy can hoop. Elzy can play. He's fast. He's physical. He's agile too, right? And he's looking to play. I think that fills your star spot next year, right? In terms of starting, we got to see what they do. But he's a guy that can come in there and he can contribute at a high level, right? And he's 6 foot. I think he could probably be 6'1", 6'2". Joshua Pettigrew, we know what he brings to the table. And it goes back to the recruiting of what they've had, guys, over the last little bit, right? When you think about it. They've had Joshua Pettigrew, they've had Nathan Agame, they've had Kevin Roche Jr., which it shows me that Georgia Tech is changing how they're recruiting the tight end position. They don't want just blockers. They want you to be able to catch the ball. They want you to create mismatches. They want to lean on that in this George Godsey offense, right? So massive moving forward for Georgia Tech and what they want to do and accomplish. So right now, my honest thoughts as we went through the class, I think very solid. I think defensive line, you've cooked. You don't really need much else. If you want to get maybe one more edge, sure, but you've cooked with this defensive line group. Now, as the 3, as I kind of close out the show, the 3 that you need now going forward, you need linebacker, you need cornerback, and you got to hit on wide receiver, right? I know they're going to add a couple more offensive linemen, but you got to hit on wide receiver. You need to bring in some major guys for this class. And I will say it, and I will say it one more time. JB, I cannot say it enough. Dude can go up and go get it. He's agile in the open lane. He's elusive. And he ain't scared of nobody. Okay, so for Georgia Tech, that should be a priority. Now, maybe they have other priorities. I don't know. I'm not plugged in on that aspect specifically. But if I'm Coach DeVar Williams and I'm Coach Key and I want to change my offense for the foreseeable future, and I want a guy that can come in next year and potentially contribute and play, I'm going down to Thomasville. I'm going down to TCC, who just won a state championship 2 in the past 3 years with Justin Rogers and crew, and I'm going to go get JB. I'm not finna play with it, right? That's my honest thoughts. That's my honest assessment, man. So appreciate everybody tuning in, man. Y'all running it up, man. So I had to go on a live for y'all, man. So I'll try to do that more often for Georgia Tech and my fans. I know y'all love my content. Y'all a great audience, man. Whatever y'all want to see, please let me know. I will have hoops in there as well. Those will be the main 2 I cover. Baseball every now and again, but mainly football and basketball for sure. All right. So guys, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, hype up this video, and let me know more content you guys want to see. But any news that breaks with recruits, I got you guys. There might be one more today. We'll see what happens. If not, you know what I'm saying, there should be some coming in the coming days for Georgia Tech. So I'll go live and react, or I will have a reaction that premieres on the channel. But always peace and love, guys. And thanks so much for tuning in.